Welcome everybody. Today is February 9th, 2026. This is the Village of Hannah City. This is the Village Council meeting. If everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Shannon online. Caleb in house.
Yeah. Caleb, go ahead, sir.
I'll tell you stuff before me.
Recognition of guests. Public input.
So you guys probably, Brian, you probably gave them the.
I gave him the executive summary and the table of I didn't give him all the details.
This is something else that I printed off, saying the qualifications for this year. That shows basically, I guess it's a roundup of capabilities. I guess is what I'd say it was, or total summary of all services.
Kind of machine gun.
Those of you that don't know, but maybe only one here.
Yeah.
My name's Caleb Johnson. I'm from the area, grew up in Farmington, graduated from Farmington High School in 2001. It was on Village of Hannah City Board for 12 years, maybe 10 or 12 years. Lived in town for 10 or 12 years also. Just recently moved out of town. So intimately familiar with the village, obviously. I originally submitted under the company I worked for, Moore & Kerr. We've recently been acquired, kind of merged with the TWM office locally. Eventually the Moore & Kerr name will fade out, but for right now you're seeing everything is double branded on there. At least not on that, but the submittal we did is kind of double branded. Moore & Kerr has been around since about 2007. A couple local guys that had been working in survey and engineering in the area founded it. Then we kind of grew to 18 people at the start of the year when we merged with the TWM office. We had about 11 people in it. The majority of land development engineering come from our office. They had a smaller survey and engineering department. They were a lot of utility stuff here locally. TWM's been around about 80 years. In fact, this year's their 80th anniversary. They were founded in Swansea, Illinois. Gone through a couple name changes, but selling it at TWM now. I think there's one namesake left in the ownership of that, but the company's 100% employee owned. So there is no longer, I think as of 10 or 15 years ago, there's no longer any bulk owner of TWM. It's what they call an ESOP, employee stock ownership program, 100% employee-owned company. So everybody's kind of got a stake in the game, which kind of makes it nice. So nobody's splitting up profits at the end of the year, but the employees. So that makes it good. And they've had a Peoria office for about 6 or 7 years now. We're just looking to make a bigger footprint in the area. So our two owners were getting to the age they needed to retire. So we ended up merging with them officially the January 1st of this year. Most of the management will be the survey side of things. The owner on that side will be gone within about a year. He's going to retire. Not as crucial because I'm survey manager and the survey lead for this. So I'll be around obviously for a long time. Then the engineering side is going to be around quite a bit longer. He's not going to retire quite as soon. So there's going to be a lot of continuity on the engineering side. And we gained some engineering experience from that side. Kind of address some of the items you had in your submittal here. Subdivision and land development review. We do a lot of these services already, but we develop subdivisions, we review plans for different some of the different villages around our area clients. Stormwater management, drainage, again, same services we already offer to several people in the area. One of the main engineers for that is the one that's been doing municipal work in the area for a long time, and he's still on board and has no immediate plans for retirement.
Who are you guys, Moore & Kerr, like your village engineers for some towns already?
Yeah, we are village engineers already for, I think it's back on page 12. So we do work for the Village of Moore. Village of Moore uses a lot. They use, I think, half a dozen different firms for different aspects, but we do some transportation work for them, street redesign stuff, off and on survey work for them if they need right-of-way marked on a road, boundary services, things like that. Village of Dunlap, we've been pretty full service. for a lot of years. Occasionally there's other things that happen in and out where they need some help on it. Village of Glassford, up until they sold their water and sewer to All American Water, we did absolutely everything for the Village of Glassford. Village of Benson, same thing. Village of Bellevue, same thing. We've done everything for the Village of Bellevue for a long time, from MFT work to street redesign, whatever they needed, basically. And then through another engineer in the area, Patrick Meyer, worked in Village of Bartonville, Village of North Pekin, Village of South Pekin, worked for City of Peoria in some projects. We currently have what I'd call like an on-demand, like this would be like an on-demand contract here at the village, but like an on-demand survey services with the City of East Peoria, where if they need a alley vacated or right-of-way marked or boundary services, anything survey related, we would go do that survey work for them just on call. And we do the same thing with Peoria County Highway Department. They're going to replace a culvert or need random survey services that aren't already connected to a bigger job, like a bridge repair job. They would call us to come in on demand and come in and do those survey services for them. So yeah, and then TWM, they didn't have any municipal clients locally because they weren't offering transportation, like engineering and land development engineering locally. They were doing mainly survey work, utility work. They were doing a lot of utility work locally, GPSD, All American Water. But if you look on the page 13 there, on-call services for Swansea, the town that they're headquartered in, Glen Carbon, Carbondale, Belleville, Creveport, Missouri, Millstadt, Illinois, several IDOT districts, managed GIS programs for a lot. There on page 13, they list an extensive list of places they do MFT program for, and we were also doing the MFT program for Benson, Bellevue, Glassford, Dunlap, places like that. Offering very similar services to here. One thing TWM does give us is more capabilities. Pretty much when you look at the key personnel that are listed there, all of those were more current employees locally, except for Serena and Mark. Mark is the transportation engineer that TWM just hired locally. So he started to work with our villages. Frank Stern that was listed there was our lead engineer with the villages. Mark's going to work on the transportation stuff, and he already had a pretty good list of municipal clients that he worked in. That's kind of his specialty is municipal transportation jobs. And then Serena, who was the branch manager of the TWM local office, she's actually the water distribution lead for TWM. So anything water distribution related, the local lead for that is right here. That would be something that she would supplement us on. If more occur was kind of weak in anything, and maybe when you get to the higher end sewer problems, but not now, because that's kind of what she specializes in, water distribution, sanitary sewer. So besides the fact we have a vast amount of resources to draw from that as far as expertise, 99% of the stuff would be handled here locally, but if there's something really off the wall, or grant funding, I'd say that's something Mooreker probably didn't really get into before. We would always seek help on seeking grants, funding, loans, things like that. TWM does that for a lot of the municipal clients, so we have that access to that now too, and people that specifically work on those problems. So they're not local here, but for that type of work, it doesn't really matter where they're sitting at. If they're just looking for grants or looking for money. So we're well tied in for IDOT. We're well tied in for the state of Illinois, I should say, as far as grants and stuff. Being in Swansea, that's on the Illinois side of things. But
the IEPA loans, they can help with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anything involved with that. Grants, funds, anything like that, because they have a laundry list of municipal clients that they work for. On our submittal right there, they listed, people put it together, but IDOT pre-qualified in 24 categories, working for about 24 different municipalities down south where they're doing everything for. We're working for another 6 or 8 up here that we do everything for. Like I said, now just bolstered on the sanitary sewer side of things, bolstered on the grant seeking side of things, loan management, things like that. Hannah City may not use it, but TWM is also really, really aggressive with technology. So anything, any toy you can imagine on the survey side of things, or what they call their geospatial services, we have access to now. If you get something really complicated that involves something needs scanned, where it's just not conventional or safe to do conventional survey methods, they have every device known to man as far as terrestrial scanners, drones, sewer robots, anything like that. So some of it housed here, some of it housed down there, some of it permanently traveling. I mean, a few years ago when the village had the van that drove around town and kind of cataloged some of the stuff. TWM has one of those vans set up for mobile scanning. I say it's based out of Swansea, but it's on the go all the time. Something like that's moving constantly. It was just in Peoria here a few weeks ago working on a route for some haulage materials for afterwards to make sure there was no road damage done to it so somebody could get their bond pulled on it. Do what?
Like a big move.
No, I think it was for a solar project because it was just going from the 74 interchange there by the jail and then like looping up behind Norwood to an empty field. I think it was where they were hauling a bunch of solar supplies. I think once they haul all that stuff up there, they scanned it before and scanned it after, and I think it was just for pavement analysis basically, just to make sure they didn't cause any undue road damage with hauling heavy materials up there.
I wonder how they do that with just windmills.
I would imagine they would do that with that. And I would guess it most likely for that, except there's no windmills being built right there. So it almost otherwise, I would agree that would be the most likely thing because that's hauling a lot of heavy tonnage. But yeah, it was just analyzing the route afterwards to see how much damage was done to the road before everybody signed off that they were free and clear of it. They had a specific route they had to monitor for it. Pavement redo plans. If you look at the statement of qualifications here, this really gets into the weeds about the services. Everything you see on the front is stuff that was taken from one of their projects, including the helicopter. TWN does not own a helicopter, but for a project last year, they did rent one for a day or a couple of days.
I thought it was a machine gun on the front first.
Yeah, they
Scanner.
mounted their own technology to the front of the helicopter and hired a separate company to. I think it was just a massive project that a drone you would have had battery issues and flight time issues with. So a helicopter was the best option. It was such a long route that they mounted their equipment on that and hired a company to come in and fly it for them using their own equipment. Obviously, if you look at the pages 4 and 6, transportation, DOT, local roadways, streetscapes, trails, ADA, traffic and safety, pretty much anything you can imagine for transportation, and Moore also offered all of that. That would be something where they're just making our capabilities stronger. Structural engineering, probably not a huge concern with Hannah City. We don't really own any bridges or anything that qualifies a structural aspect that the village would have to worry about. Land development, that'd be more something that would be checked for the village if somebody submitted the plans and wants to do a subdivision, partner to work with to make sure they're following all the city zoning codes. Obviously, then water infrastructure and geospatial water infrastructure, because Hannah City has their own sewer and water that they still maintain and own. So obviously, that's going to be a big one, especially if the water tower gets built. Once that project's over with, then every flaw in the water system is going to show up after that. So that's going to lead to, imagine, water main projects in the future, the geospatial, land surveying, reality capture, energy and utilities. Energy and utilities probably not so much, but the reality capture could be something village utilizes in the future. Then obviously land surveying services, any project you do is going to involve that to start with or end with, or both in the layout. That's obviously something more offered to everybody. We just have increased capabilities now with additional staff here in Peoria, and then capability to call on more staff if necessary from out of town. Yeah, obviously strong local interest. I still live here locally, still drive through Hannah City every day on the way to work. Still have strong ties to the town, still live in the same school district. So obviously the Hannah City, Trevoli, Farmington ties are always, Each City always kind of link everybody together. As if you don't live in one of the towns, you still have strong interest for the other ones. Just feel like now I have a lot more capabilities. There's really nothing that I can have to say no to anymore as far as services being offered, because those kind of few niche services that maybe we're a little bit weaker in, we're not now with the addition of additional staff here in Peoria. Still a local company. That's why they acquired Moore & Kerr, because they had a local office, but they didn't consider themselves a local company, so they wanted to bolster that local involvement, and everybody's from around here, so I think it's going to be a good mix going forward. So really kind of add jet fuel to Moore & Kerr. We can do anything that we need to do and internally don't have to go out and seek outside expertise. So you guys have any questions or look through anything? Or?
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you sat on the board for so long.
Mm-hmm.
What would you see as being like, what would you do differently, or what, or maybe nothing? I'm not asking you to tear down, or maybe just how are you guys different than
What would I do differently is the Hannah City? Not that we killed it when I was on the board.
No, I'm saying what does TWM bring versus what versus Farnsworth? What do you see the major differences as?
We're stronger on the survey side of things for sure. Response time. We don't have. Not say TWM doesn't do some of the same types of things Farnsworth does, but our crews are controlled by our office here in Peoria. And this Peoria office is not working on a gas pipeline project in West Virginia or sending crews to their office in Colorado. We control our crews locally because that's one big question I asked, obviously, being on the survey side and scheduling our crews is, we're going to lose control of our crews. Is Swansea going to call and say, hey, we have an 80-mile Ameren line. All 4 of your crews are going to be, going from the Quad Cities to the Indiana border, working on this line for the next 3 months. So watch what you're scheduling. And that's not the case. If they have a big, because that is an example of a type of job that TWM would do, they have a big Ameren presence, which is why they started the Peoria office years ago, was to get in the northern part of the state to do more Ameren work, because Ameren said, we'd like to keep working with you, but you need to get an office in the northern part of the state to service better. So that's why they made this one. But our crews are ours to distribute. If they have a bigger corporate client like that calls, they'll call us and ask us, "What do you have anybody free? Do you have any capabilities? Can you have a free crew for a month? If not, move on to Plan B. Crews from other parts of the state. They have crews that live in Springfield, Decatur, that aren't really tied to an office. They leave from their house and are dispatched from their house and get all their stuff off the cloud, off the data collector, and they kind of go and freelance on projects. So, and then option C would be call another firm you have an agreement with to provide extra crews if there's somebody out there that has it. But I think the big advantage is it is more of a local office atmosphere than a corporate structure like that. Like Peoria controls Peoria's employees. Swansea's kind of is the headquarters down there, and if a corporate customer comes in, it doesn't trump what the local office has. So you won't get pushed aside and won't be scheduling against, larger crews like that. And survey-wise in the Peoria area, before we merged with TWM, Moore & Kerr had the most robust survey office in the Peoria for sure, as far as licensed surveyors and survey crews. We had more capabilities than the bigger firms in Peoria did. We just had a heavier survey presence. Now we even have a bigger survey presence. We've added a couple extra people. Even Serena, the water distribution lead for that other office, is also a licensed surveyor. It sits on the state board that I used to sit on and be president of. She's currently on the executive committee for the State Surveyor Association. I think that would be the big difference. It's a bigger company, but not that big. I mean, it's 150, 180 employees scattered amongst 10 offices, I think. They got a few in Tennessee, a few in Missouri, and then the rest in Illinois. But at 25 employees now with these two offices combined, the Peoria office is now their second biggest office. Some of their Tennessee offices are 8 people. Columbia, Missouri, I think is 6 people. They're all very small local offices that kind of, operate locally. The only bigger corporate atmosphere would be in Swansea, where I think there's 110 people or something in one office down there. So I think that'd be the biggest advantage we have here.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions for Caleb?
Process-wise, I think I've been talking with Shauna a little bit about the process and how all that works, but we'll probably vote at our next meeting.
Yeah. Well, Brian's got my contact, so if anybody has any questions in between, just email me directly. So he has my new email address. I'm going back and forth, so it should be good.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much, Caleb.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yep, good to see you. All right, I'm going to go pick up my daughter from a basketball game and skip out of the rest of the meeting if you don't mind.
Nope, that's why I did it early. Then you didn't have to set the public hearing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
So. Now we'll go back up to item number 3.
See you later.
See you, Kevin. I gotta read this. Well, we got to vote to go into a public hearing.
Right, I know, but do I have to read that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I entertain a motion to go into a public hearing For an ordinance authorizing and providing the issuance not to exceed $600,000 aggregate principal amount. General obligation bond, alternate revenue source, Series 2026 of the Village of Hannah City, Peoria County, Illinois, and for the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal of and interest of said bonds.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sidak, second by Weaver, and all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. No. We are in public hearing. And I'll do it just like we do it when we go into it is 18:21, 6:21 p.m. Excuse me. We are in a public hearing. Present is Mayor for Excel.
Trustee Weaver.
Trustee Miller.
Trustee Sidak.
Trustee Holt.
Treasurer Schlatter.
Administrator Baylor.
Attorney Shannon O'Shaughnessy.
Okay. So you have to read the public meeting minutes?
Yeah.
I have to read the whole minutes?
I think they just said that. Yeah, I mean, it's just that first page.
But didn't we already do?
This is just the next step in the process and of getting the bonds and I think finalizing some of the rates. They gave me the new information. The aggregate debt, things are trending in the right direction as far as the bonds go. The debt service has gone down by about $9,000, and the true interest cost has gone down by about 0.07%. So we just need to approve this ordinance, but I think you're supposed to read the minutes, yes, and then approve the ordinance or vote on the ordinance.
So I need my meeting. Do you have another copy of this?
Yeah, there's that copy.
You want mine?
No, I'm going to mark up on this, so
Okay.
real quick.
I think after this step, then they go out and do the offering to get the people to get the bonds or buy the bonds or whatever, and then we're scheduled to get the money, I think, in late March. The only other step I know of between here and there is if we have to pay, if we start on the building and Blunier needs the next, I think it's $120,000, the next installment. We won't have the bonds yet, and so we have to do an ordinance that says that we're going to pay for that out of another pocket and then reimburse it when the bond money comes in.
We didn't have a trustee present.
Well, I guess you could say.
Now we're gonna wait.
These are the minutes for today.
Minutes of a public hearing, public meeting of the president of the board of the trustees of the Village of Hannah City, Peoria County, Illinois, held in the Village Hall located at 313 North 4th Street, Hannah City, Illinois, 6 p.m. on the 9th day of February 2026. The president, myself, called the meeting to order and directed the village clerk to call roll. President was Trustee Weaver, Trustee Miller, Trustee Sidak, Trustee Holt, and myself, Mayor Frixell. Calling trustees were allowed by a majority of the trustees and the board, in accordance with and to the extent allowed by rules adopted by the village board to attend the meeting by video or audio conference were none. No trustees were not permitted to attend by meeting by video or audio conference. The following trustees were absent and did not participate in the meeting in any manner or to any extent, when that was Trustee Pearson and Trustee Johnson, Chris Johnson. Myself, Mayor Frixell, announced the village board would consider adoption of an ordinance providing for the issuance of an alternate revenue bond for the purpose of financing various capital improvements in the village, including but not limited to construction of a new public works building and related costs of the issuance of the bond, and providing for the levy of the direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal of and interest on said bond, whereupon
Administrator Baylor probably.
presented and read the title of the ordinance. Follows a copy which was provided to each trustee of the village board prior to said meeting, and to everyone in attendance at said meeting who requested a copy. And that was this will be ordinance 26-2-1.
That's back in time.
Wish. Do a lot of things different.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm just told this is the next step, and I think it's the final step before they actually issue the bonds. And we go from there.
So I guess we'll do this the right way. I will entertain a motion to approve said ordinance 26-2-1, an ordinance authorizing providing for the issuance of not to exceed $600,000 aggregate principal amounts, general obligation bond, alternate revenue source, series 2026 of the Village of Hannah City, Peoria County, Illinois, and for the levy of the direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal of the interest on said bonds.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Sidak, second by Weaver. And I'm not paying anything. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Yep.
Nothing else in the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to leave the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Sidak, Weaver. Further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We are out of public hearing at 6:30 p.m. We are back in regular session. Present are myself, Mayor Frixell.
Trustee Weaver.
Trustee Miller.
Trustee Sidak.
Trustee Holt.
Treasurer Slaughter.
Administrator Baylor.
Attorney Shannon O'Shaughnessy.
Thank you. Okay. Everybody should have a copy of our January 26th meeting minutes.
I also included the minutes from the public hearing.
Oh.
Everybody attended.
Yeah, I should say our regular virtual council meeting minutes from January 26th, 2026. Did that. I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Weaver. Have a second.
Second.
By Holt. Any further discussions, corrections, changes? Hearing none, we'll. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Also in your deck, you'll have a special virtual council meeting minutes from the open meeting. Where is that? Can't read. From our public hearing on January 26, 2026. I called the meeting together at 5:30 p.m. Nobody was present. Myself and Administrator Baylor were here. There was no quorum. So we adjourned the meeting and postponed it until a regular meeting at 6 p.m. So I will entertain a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Sidak, second by Weaver.
So there was just some confusion. We scheduled a meeting at 5:30 for the public hearing. And when we knew nobody was going to be there, they just said, just make the minutes say you don't have a quorum and then postpone it to the 6 o'clock meeting and do it then. So that's what we did.
Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Nothing under, I let Brandon already, treasurer's report.
Nothing out of the ordinary on the treasurer's report. We do have an interest statement for Illinois funds, $70,348 for the month.
Just FYI, rates have gone down. It's about 3.8 now, just a little under.
Because so many people are putting money into it, or?
Now it's just based upon the market. Interest rates have dropped.
It's a nice number to have in there, though.
It is.
How much total have we gained from entering that?
More than, well, in the last year and a half, we've gained $161,000.
Nice.
But there's a whole nother year prior to that that's not on the sheet.
Right.
So,
Well worth it.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's we're probably averaging 7,500 a month, maybe something like that. We've had some months where we got up into the 8s when the rates were high and we had pretty high balances, but
Or we've taken money to do other things with taking that interest and done other things with it, not applied it. I think we only did that once or twice in the beginning.
every month when we close the books, Cassandra and I will sit and look at the cash balances and we'll decide if we're going to move any down, even just for the month or whatever to cover it. So we try to maximize that, but keep enough in the operating account to where, we don't overdraw.
Right.
And now that we'll have the sweep account,
As soon as we can get Ryan to sign it.
when's he going to get back?
I make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report and pay all outstanding debts.
Second.
Motion by Sidak, second by Weaver. Any further comments? And we'll have to roll call this. Roll call. Weaver,
Yes.
Pearson, or Miller?
Yep.
Sidak,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Frickstell, yes. Motion carries. Nothing under that. Sean?
Well, we've been working on Title V. We've added some sections and right now it's kind of getting everything back in order because we've rearranged the order of the table of contents and things. So Substance wise, I think it's all there. If you guys have had a chance to review it, if anybody has any questions, then we're going to start right in on Title II as soon as we get this Title V voted on and adopted.
What are these posted at?
I'm sorry.
The changes.
I think I can't remember. I sent out a copy, I thought. We're going to talk through those tonight.
Okay.
Right now, I think we have the content where we want it. The only thing the point she's making is the formatting is kind of messy because we moved some things around and we're working to get that fixed. I mean, we talked about it. If you want us to get the formatting all fixed and resend it out, we can postpone the vote till, the next meeting. But I think the content's not going to change. And then the other thing is moving forward is Cassandra keeps a running list of everything that comes up that we think we want to change in the code book. And then what we're going to do once a year, once we get rid of American Legal, once a year, we'll update the code book ourselves and then re-vote on it all together. So it's going to get updated annually that way.
Yeah. Well, the only questions I have on Title V is Chapter 5 cannabis. Is it still not? It's still not authorized in the village, correct?
Yeah, everything that you see there in blue, and like I said, we were going to cover this under Wiley's report. Let's just, want to wait till then, or?
Yeah, we can wait till then.
Yep.
She's gonna be explaining it twice.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything else, Sean?
Just one thing about Title II. If anybody has anything that they need to get to Brian that to put in Title II, that is at the beginning of 2025, Illinois enacted a law where municipalities have to register any new building codes with the Capital Board, Development Board, and that's 30 days. So I just want to make sure that we're aware of that deadline. I know Brian wants to get it, we'd like to get it enacted before the end of the fiscal year, but we need to keep that 30 days in mind. So if people have anything to contribute to Title II, be thinking of what needs to be
Real
done.
quick, I think Wiley and I met before the meeting tonight, and we've talked with Matt Rademacher. I think what we're going to do is we're going to propose adopting the 2021 International Building Code. And I guess if the board's comfortable with that, we can start that 30 days or whatever, or let them know whenever. We will also add to it exceptions. I know of two at the moment. One is sprinklers in residential homes, and the other is the triple pane windows. Is that right, Wiley? Yeah. There may be others. We're also going to put a line in there that says we reserve the right to, make whatever modifications that we want. And there'll also be a line in there that says anything that's in our other titles take precedent over the 2021 building code. In other words, if there's a conflict between Title 4, residential and property or whatever, and the code book, we're going with Title 4 because we've already decided that that's what we want.
Okay. Have you decided on an international residential code as well? What version?
The 2021, I think, is what we're...
For the residential as well? Okay.
I mean, that's the primary one, yeah. We'll talk about this a little bit later as well, but the other thing is that we're going to look at rewriting the zoning portion. And I got a quote from somebody that does that kind of thing. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Anything else then, Sean?
No, I believe that's all I have.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Administrator Baylor.
Just two things. I sent you guys an email where we're participating in the Strong Communities Initiative. It's free. They kind of just do an assessment and they kind of tell you what you need to do. But there's a thing I had to write based upon a bunch of questions that they gave. I sent that document out to you guys to read. If you have any thoughts or anything you want adjusted or changed, let me know. But I felt like it was a pretty good summary of where we've been and where we are and where we're going. So I'd be interested if you guys had things you wanted to adjust with that. The only other thing is we should have the January financials this week. And that means we'll build those into the budget templates because we always wait until January. So we've got 9 months of full data. And then we'll get going really fast on the next year's budget. So that'll be a lot of work that Cassandra and I'll be doing over the next few weeks. This one's going to be a little bit more complicated because we've got all the loans and more moving parts.
No. Okay. Is that all you had, Brian?
Yep.
Mr. Pearson's not here for committee reports. Anything under that? Finance,
Nope.
Brian? Planning and zoning, Mr. Holt.
2 items. One, ordinance adopting Title V, property and business regulations. And Brian's gonna break.
Yeah,
that
so in
down
your
for us.
deck, you've got this sheet says Title V, Table of Contents. So this has all the stuff that is in Title V. And if I say something wrong, Shanna, you can tell me. And I tried to highlight the differences. So Chapter 1 was liquor. If you remember right, we passed an ordinance, I don't know, sometime back. I don't remember what the date was, where it was before last year's. Because we weren't going to have Title V done, we passed an ordinance on the new liquor times and
We simplified the classes.
we simplified the classes and subclasses. So we just took that ordinance and built it into here. We also clarified that with the video gaming because the timing is the same for that with the liquor license. You guys asked us to build some business sign regulations because of the potential gas station that's going to come in, so we did that. Shauna also found some stuff on sound advertising devices that we put into so people don't have noisy things to advertise their business. The next chapters you see that are all in blue, I think I'm saying this right, Shauna, but what we said is they are prohibited unless there's a special decision or vote from the board. And if there is, and that's approved, then we did put in some basic guidelines that would govern those things. I say that right?
Yes. Like, for instance, pawnbrokers are prohibited within the village currently. However, if the board decides that they want to allow that, then we've already put in requirements that they would need to follow. That way you don't need to go back and amend the title, that those requirements are already in there if you decide that you want to include that.
I believe we did.
Yeah. Then we got itinerant workers and special events, the things that govern those. Food trucks, the only real change there is we put in a new pay schedule that you can have a seasonal pass, April to October, that we charge a little different rate for. Service provider maintenance fees, that's all the telecom stuff and what governs that and who pays. We put garage sales in just because I don't know if a business would have a garage sale, but we covered it anyway. We used similar language to the residential side. Short-term rentals, we put in operating standards and registration. The only thing I saw, and this is one change that I would like to say now, Shauna, but I think it said we were going to ask for a permit for short-term rentals. I don't think we want to do that unless the board feels we do. I think we want them to follow the operating standards and register, but I don't know that we want to go through a permitting process. Does anybody?
But not at this time.
Yeah. And then this is part of what the change we made, but everything in green there is also in the residential property and regulations. So how you maintain your property, the trees, grass, weeds. So all we did is we took the stuff that was in the residential side, we pulled it over here and reset it and pulled out anything that was specific to residential and added anything that was specific to business. So, for example, the garbage side of things is completely different because it's just a dumpster and they do that on their own and so forth. So those are the primary things we changed. So like I said, I think the content's there. I think the formatting is, we've got to continue to work on, but we'll have that done soon. We can either vote tonight or we can fix the formatting, resend it out, and vote at the next meeting. I will leave that to you guys to.
What needs to be changed?
Well, the only thing we're changing, the only content change from this point forward was the
14 through 20, basically.
Oh, that was we just added that stuff and took out the residential references. So we're good either way. I think we've got the content where we want it. Like I said, it's just not in one pretty document that all looks the same. But I mean, how much more work do you have on it, Shanna, to complete the formatting?
Trying to think how far I got before the meeting. I've changed some of them around. The part that's going to take a little bit of time is going back and making sure that any references within the sections that we've moved to a different chapter or the chapter to a different numbering system.
Don't refer to the chapter with a different number.
Right. Exactly. That it is referring to the correct chapter. So that's just going to be going through and, making sure those all line up correctly. And then I have a few more to move around. I probably got about half of those done before the meeting.
But we feel comfortable that if they wanted to see the final version formatting wise, we'd have that before the next meeting.
Yes.
So like I said, I don't think we're going to change any content other than but the formatting. So it's up to you guys.
And to take out that permit in the short-term rentals that you mentioned.
Yep. Wait.
I messed up my copy twice now. So what do you guys feel? Go as is?
Table is till next meeting. And we're done.
Table to next meeting?
It's fine with me.
Doesn't matter to me. Keep it simple.
I agree with that. Sure. All the ducks are in a row.
So we don't need to vote if we're just going to table it for the next meeting. Is that right, Shanna?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's table it and do it at the next meeting.
Okay.
So I don't need to make a motion on that one then, since we're waiting, right?
Yep.
No. So we'll just do an ordinance adopting, enacting Title V property and business regulations into the village code book of Hannah City, amending the current code will be tabled until our next meeting on 23rd of January or February. And Title II, Mr. Holt?
Yeah, and the second one is Title II zoning rewrite quote.
Yeah, so I told you in Title II, basically how we're going to handle the building code side. The other thing is what we would do with the zoning. And basically, after talking with, and I realized that this is the company that I'm doing some work with, so there's a conflict of interest here. So say that up front. But Matt Fick, who works for them, has done some writing for zoning and code writing for zoning. Basically, what we want to do is we want to get it down to where we have one residential, one business, one industrial, and one ag zoning area. And we'd have the basic rules for each of those. And And then if there was somebody wanted to do something outside of the norm, the 80%, then they would have to go through a special use process that would go through the zoning commission and come before the board. So that way 80% of it would be covered by what we've got in the zoning, and the exceptions will manage through the special use process. So that's the concept. And he was going to help us rewrite that and redraw the map.
Do we have an ordinance for that right now?
I don't know if we have an ordinance. It's in the code book. So there's like a residential 1, a residential 2, there's like 3 business zones or whatever, and it's calling out the specifics. So R1 is houses and R2 is apartments, and so what we were going to try to do was just write it down to where it's residential, and then if you want an apartment in that area, then it's a special use, and you got to go through a process, because that doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, then it would be commercial property.
The only challenge is like, what do you do with 116, like up and down 116, where you have both businesses and residential, right? So we'll have to work through how we're going to handle that. But the initial thought process is if we want it to all be business, or if that's the primary thing we want, then we write it that way and then make exceptions for the rest. So what we'd be doing is hiring Hometown Consulting to rewrite that. The only thing I don't like is he says it's going to take 2 months, but before I would sign anything with them, I'm going to see if we can't get that done quicker.
I think a lot of towns on main drags like that consider it all commercial, because isn't that how you see houses turned into realty offices and stuff like that on main drags?
Yeah. And then the only thing is you have to write in some exceptions or whatever, because if you code it that way and then the house burns down and they want to rebuild it, then you've got to have a way to say, yeah, you can put another house there if you want to. So
Yeah, because you can zone it, we'll just say C1 commercial property because it's a rental house. I don't know if that would fall under rental.
Yeah.
If it's commercial properties.
Yeah.
So it'd be, commercial property. But, the guy sells it to Jane Doe. Jane Doe buys the house and it burns down. She doesn't want, then she's got to follow commercial by that. But, there needs to be a stipulation in there that says if the property is sold, it can be from a commercial to an individual, that it can be then rated as a residential property. Or can be changed to residential property, not holding it in.
the primary goal is to just, what we have today is so complex. The goal is to make it simpler and build it around the norm, right? 80% of the time it's going to be this way. So let's build the rules around it. And if somebody wants to do something different, which doesn't happen very often, but if they do, then we have a special use process that they have to go through and get approval for to do something different.
Through us.
Yeah.
Or what?
It would go to the planning commission at Wiley and the planning commission and here, yeah.
So they doing that in Bartonville too? Or in, Bartonville?
Who? Why does it say Bartonville?
Yeah, it says to assist the village of Bartonville.
Oh, they must have. He must have cut and pasted. Yeah, it's supposed to be him. So
Twice, actually.
I didn't catch it.
3 times down here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I was like, what's going on with that?
So this would be something, Shannon, you can weigh in, but I'm guessing you don't have expertise on writing zoning code. Obviously, you'll look at it and make a legal determination that it makes sense, but actually how we would want to zone it, I think would be beyond, or no? Am I saying it?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done studies on what would be the best way to zone or anything as far as that goes. If he has expertise in that department. I just know the one doing the business Title V, you have in there, because you have to have adult businesses, you have to have that in there for constitutional reasons. You need to think about where you would like those to be if that ever comes up for Hannah City, where you would want them to be located, and think about that when you're doing your zoning.
Oh. But we have the right to deny that, don't we? I mean, we might lose a court case or something, but
Well, it's a constitutional issue. So anything that is expression, it's against the Constitution to prohibit it. So that's why it's in the title, because you can't prohibit adult businesses. Now, you can limit where they're located, you can regulate them by hours and things like that, but you cannot strictly prohibit them completely.
We can regulate them. It can't be within
about liquor
10
license.
10
Maybe
miles.
within,
Hey, you can only be open 5 minutes a day.
It can only be within 10 miles of Hannah City.
so that's just something to think about when you're zoning that would go with
Yeah.
titles we've already done.
Okay. So everybody knows what we have. We have
Just FYI, we've already budgeted. I think we budgeted $15,000 this year for the code rewrite. We've not used all of it, so this would be out of that same budget. So it's not like it's a new expense.
so everybody knows we have Title II zoning rewrite quote. So
Can we approve this because it says Martinville?
Yeah, we can say that we amended.
Then I'll make a motion that we sorry, my brain is fried today.
Approve the quote.
Approve the quote
Right.
from Hometown Consulting for the fixed fee of $2,500, with the amendment that rather than paying for them to do it for the village of Bartonville, they do it for us, the village of Hannah City.
Well said.
motion second by Weaver. Any further discussion? Comments, corrections, changes? We'll roll call that. I mean, Miller?
Yeah.
Sidak?
Yes.
Bolt?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Losing my mind today. Motion carries. Anything under planning and zoning, Mr. Holt?
So do I gotta make a motion to rewrite that quote down, or is that what you just did?
That's what we just did.
All right, then. Nope, you take care of it for us. Thank you.
Sanitary sewer.
Yeah, I'll cover this. So just kind of updating everything. The solar loan, we've received all the government money so far that we're supposed to receive.
State. State. You said government.
Well, I guess it's not just government. It's the Ameren money too. Anyway, everything but the federal money we've gotten back from Ameren, from the state. I don't know if there's anybody else in there or not, but it's about $100,000, just shy of about $100,000. We're waiting on the federal money. It looks like that. I got an updated number. It looks like I said between 150 and 200. It looks like that's going to be about 170, and that's based upon a percentage of the total of the project and some other. We get 30% plus we get an additional 2% for having it be prevailing wage. We're going to receive about $4,500 a quarter for the next 6 years from the state, and we'll build that into the budget. So as we build the budget in April, we should be able to make a down payment with all the money we've got so far, which looks like would be around what, 270 then? The 170 we're waiting for, hopefully that'll be here by April, and the 100 that we've got, which will leave us about $250,000 left. Then we'll use that $4,500 a quarter to cover a portion of the payment, and then we'll use if we need to, the electrical savings that we're getting at the lagoon to pay the other portion of the payment, divert it over. And then I'm going to look at it, but maybe build a plan to pay it all off in early 2027, maybe by using the cash that we've set aside for the Public Works building and then pay ourselves back because this loan rate is higher than the other, but that's all coming later. Does that make sense? You'll see that as part of the budget. So I think that's it on sewer.
Do we have shut-offs or anything?
I don't have that information.
We'll get that. We'll get that next time for.
I don't think it's on this meeting anyway. I think it's next meeting.
Okay.
Water. So you've got in your packet a press release from Illinois American Water. So they've definitely got a rhythm going. They raised our rates in January of 2023. They raised our rates in January of 2025, and now they're asking the ICC if they can raise our rates again in January of 2027. So now they're doing it like every 2 years. The Illinois Commerce Commission may say no, but I doubt that. Just like we did in the past, once we get the date for the meeting, we'll communicate that out to our residents so they can send letters how to do that. Tony's planning on going to the hearing, if that's possible.
Shauna,
Yes.
when the ICC has those hearings, they actually have one day, I guess, when they bring it to the ICC, don't they ask for, I guess if anybody has questions or comments or is opposed to this, how do they do that?
I'm not really sure. I've never been involved with one of those.
Okay, I know Bill, could you reach out with Bill on that? I know Bill's been involved on quite a few of those. Because I'd like to, when they have the hearing on this or whenever it's presented, we definitely would like to be present to state our case for our village.
Okay. All right. And what was the date of the meeting?
Don't know. It hasn't been released yet, I don't think.
Okay.
I guess if there's any good news, I don't know, air quotes, the increase is 12%, so it's not the 24 that we got or the 30, whatever, 2 we got first time. So it's less, but it's still.
I think about a 72 or 4% increase since I've been here. And they'd already do like 65 or 30 or something.
74, 70. If this goes, it'll be 76% since last January of 23. Yeah. Which brings up the next point is we're probably getting to the place where doing a study on bringing Pleasant Valley over. I'm a little worried because, we got the lagoon loan, we got the public works building, we're going to have the water tower, but once the lagoon thing goes off, then we might be in better shape to look at it. But what I'm thinking is maybe next year we vote to approve to do the engineering study just like we did with the water tower, and have that work done just like we did with the water tower, and then begin pursuing another IEPA loan, because that's going to take
4 or 5 years,
a couple of years at least, and to get approved, and see if get real dollars to see what the return would look like.
So are we looking at, if that goes through, we're going to have to jump ours again. I know
Well, the good news is we just did 2.7%, so roughly 3%. So if theirs is 12, it's really only a 9%.
And we're already ahead, I think, right now, aren't we?
Yeah, I think what we're charging is covering our operational cost and our capital cost. So I think we're pretty good that way. But we would probably have to pass on something.
When I committed, we were taking money from streets and alleys or something to cover water or something.
Sewer.
Like that. Something.
Sewer property tax, probably. Yeah. So I think this will be a project we want to look at. At least get the engineering work done and go at it like we did the water tower loan, because part of it's forgiven and their interest rate's low. So and I know it would meet their requirements. Water tower loan, I think we've got all the latest document requirements or requests in. So we're waiting, just waiting to hear back. We had a spike in water this last month. Our detective work, we believe that there were people running water because of the cold weather. That was one. And then we had a spike over the last weekend, and we thought maybe we had a leak somewhere, but we didn't, but the park district did, and it was pretty sizable.
Or was it a?
In the Rogie section, there was a toilet left running. Over the entire weekend, they used 110,000 gallons. Their bill is $1,600.
Your bill was $1,600. Wow.
Yeah.
For the toilet.
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised how much toilets and water softeners will cost you because they run constantly.
So normally what we do is we don't offer, because we paid for the water, right? So we paid Illinois American for it. Well, we've got a formula we use to give them some of the sewer dollars back, and then we offer to make them put them on a payment plan. But yeah, that's going to be painful for them. That is it on water.
And Brian, Sandra, I ask you, I'm not very good at keeping numbers, but can you get me the exact dates, Brian, and percentages for 2023, 2025 for the water rates?
Yeah, the communications should have that in it, right?
Okay. Oh, yeah, because we have it. Okay. Buildings grounds, Mr. Weaver.
Well, we had to hire a company to camera and locate two 6-inch sewer lines for the new public works building. So I have an invoice here from A.B. Hunter Sewer Service for $1,100. Make a motion that we go ahead and accept that.
Motion by Weaver,
Second.
second by Sidak.
So this is just part of the site plan work that's being done for the new building. They felt like we needed to know exactly where those sewers were before they finished the grading plan.
Oh,
Yeah. So once we know that, once we have all that finalized, and they're going to finish up the grading plan, and then the next step after that will be, once the weather gets nice enough, we can grade it out, and then once it's graded out, Blunier will come in and start their work.
I'll see. Megan. And then we'll roll call it. Sidak.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Miller.
Yep.
Motion carries.
That's all I have for buildings and grounds.
Streets and alleys.
Nothing to report.
CEDC, Mr. Sidak.
Nothing to report.
The only thing I would say is we are starting. I think we've gotten 2 or 3 grant applications.
We had at least 5 more people come in and ask for them. So,
Did Pog drop in?
not that I know of.
She was asking me about signs and stuff.
Yeah, not that I know of.
Mr. Miller.
So I think I deciphered this best I could. It's not in any kind of order. From 121 to 129, there was 17 calls, 7 medical, 2 motor vehicle stops, 2 warnings, 6 disorderly conducts, 1 burglary, and 1 citizen contact. That's all I got on that, I think.
And it wasn't you this time.
No, but Murphy Road was busy.
It's probably the numbskulls stuff.
Murphy Road Mafia.
Something water on that side of town.
Yeah, wow.
So anything else, Mr. Miller?
That's I know.
Other business, everybody should. Everybody should have a copy brought before the board. An ordinance designate an additional Freedom of Information Act FOIA officer for the Village of Hannah City. Basically, we're adding Cassandra, right?
Yep. Denise and I are both already on there. Yeah.
So, with that, we'll entertain a motion to approve
So moved.
Ordinance
26-02-02.
Second. So why are we doing this? We get seven FOIA requests this week from
Not last week now, but
was it last week? Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, it's Monday. For a variety of different things. They only were asking for the previous month's data, so it felt to me like they were just seeing if we knew what we were doing and if we could gather the data quickly and
This is the one that needs to be signed by Denise.
get the information to them, which we were able to. But what we found through the process is Cassandra was integral in helping us get all that together and putting the letters together and all that kind of stuff. So we thought adding her would make sense. That way, if she needs to respond or if I'm not here or to sign or whatever, we can do it that way. So, yeah, but they asked for overtime. They asked for
the amount,
every bill that we
all the
paid in
accounts payable,
January.
they asked for reimbursements that we've made to staff. They asked for
All commercial
all building
permits and all residential permits and all of it.
Yeah, they wanted everything from January.
Who's asked?
A media outlet that I
Does it
never
say
heard of.
anybody can or something?
Yeah,
or
anybody
something?
can.
I remember that.
It was a media outlet that I've never heard of, Judyocracy or something.
This group is
That's all they do. They're a watch guard group. So, have a motion, a second, discussion, no changes. So, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Farmington Academic, Central Academic Foundation is asking for another donation this year. We normally do always a $1,000 scholarship every year.
it is in the budget.
And we normally do budget for it, exactly. Zach, you actually had some of those, didn't you?
Scholarship?
Yeah, scholarship.
Yeah, my senior year I got a $2,000 one from someone's estate.
Yeah, my daughter got a $750 one. So, going back to school myself, I've gotten, I got a $3,500 scholarship from the ICC Foundation for my classes and my books. So, it was nice to have that just to help take care of my books.
They've gone up a lot since I was there because I got the biggest $2,000 was the biggest one when I was graduating, and when I presented the awards last year, I had multiple people getting like $10,000 scholarships.
So what do? They take like our money and others and they pool it together to give. Is that, or do they give a specific?
They don't pull it together. They just take the individual contributions. So ours will turn into a $1,000 scholarship that they distribute.
Right.
They've got a whole committee. They've got a really arduous.
Yeah,
I can say that now because they're not giving me any money. Really arduous application process.
49 awards totaling $91,000 to graduating high school seniors, including two $10,000 awards generously funded by Petrus Polito Miller. 40 awards totaling $147,000 to current college students, including six $10,000 generously funded by the Patricia Polito Miller Fund. And I think the thing about the Polito Miller, if you get that one, it's you get it and you can renew it if you show proof that you're going to college and doing everything. You can renew it.
Yeah, they do follow on stuff. Like they gave me $1,500 when I was at ISU. So it's a good thing. So I make a motion that we approve the $1,000 donation to the F. Farmington Central Academic Foundation.
I'll second that.
Motion by Simon, second by Holt. Any further discussion, comments? And we'll roll call that. Holt?
Yep. Right. Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Miller?
Yeah.
Side
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay. And just here. Okay, there we go. Oh, last thing. Got a very heartfelt thank you and a very heartfelt thank you from Carol Myrna with the Center for Prevention of Abuse, excuse me. When I saw her at the Christmas party and she came up and she says, a lot of towns the last 2 years have really stopped, but for the last 2 years we've given $500 each year, so it really helps. So she was very thankful for that, and there's a letter from her if you would like to read it. Any other questions? I guess that's all I have. Next board meeting will be February 23rd at 6 p.m. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Shanna.
The Academic Foundation